something dark and scary.
The wind scatters leaves on the property of the Moreau family. The family dog runs across the yard barking. The lights are on in the Moreau house. The oldest sister, Melissa, stands staring out the wide window in the living room. She looks around and looks up at the sun as it sets. She then closed the drapes. Behind a tree in the woods across the dirt road is a twisted-looking being. Its head is slant over, and one of its arms seems to be out of place with the shoulder higher up than its head. The arm is hanging loosely. Its deformed body twitches. Melissa Moreau lays on the couch watching television in the living room. Melissa fools around with what looks like a gold coin in her hand as she stares at the TV. She pockets the coin, then looks over seeing her little sister playing with her dolls on the floor by the coffee table.
Lydia, be careful around the table. Move away from it a little bit.
Melissa says, pointing her foot at her sister as she is still laying on the couch.
Okay, Melissa.
Lydia moves away from the table, pulling her dolls. Melissa gets up and stretches her arms. She takes her cell phone out of her pocket from her shorts. She reads the text message her mother left for her. It reads, "No boys over. Keep the house clean. Make sure Lydia goes to bed at 9 p.m. Love you girls. We'll be home Monday morning." Melissa slides her finger across the screen of her phone, looking over her and her boyfriend's conversations. She smiles at all his sarcastic remarks. She then sends Trevor a message, telling him that she wishes he was there, and that he should come over in the morning for breakfast. "I'm cooking bacon and eggs with toast," she texted. She waits for a couple of minutes for a reply. Melissa then feels a tug on her dress shirt. She looks down, seeing her little sister staring up at her with her big brown eyes.
Melissa, there's somebody outside. They're walking by Dad's truck.
Melissa pats her sister's head and tells her to go back to the living room. Melissa walks down the hallway to the front door. She looks at her cell phone, still not seeing a response from her boyfriend.
What the hell, Trevor? What are you doing? It's only 7:21 p.m. I'll call him. That's what I'll do.
Melissa unlocks the front door. She then steps outside and has a look around. In her view, she sees a dark oak tree in the front yard. The tree that's been there since they moved in 2 weeks ago. She looks over, seeing her dad's truck parked in the driveway. Melissa walks off the porch, down the sidewalk leading to the curve of the street. Their closest neighbors are 2 miles away. A dirt road leads to the street they're on. There are 2 houses on their street that are unoccupied. At night, Melissa always feels uneasy about the houses on the street. She sometimes has suspicions that there is someone in the houses watching their family. Melissa looks at the sky, watching it become darker. She glances around, listening to the sounds in the area. Charlie, their hound dog, runs around the corner, barking and wagging his tail. Melissa smiles, feeling a little bit protected having the family dog around. Charlie runs up to her, then leaps up, pressing his paws onto her. Melissa laughs, rubbing the dog's head and neck.
Okay, boy. Let's go inside. I'm not leaving you out here. Come on. Let's go.
Just as Melissa turns to head home, Charlie stops, following her. He starts barking. Melissa turns around to see what Charlie is barking at. A silhouette of a being stands in the street facing her. Melissa is horror-struck. She stands with her eyes staring right at the thing that seemed to come from out of nowhere. Charlie barks at it, then starts running towards it. Melissa grabs the dog collar and then forces him back. Charlie snags at the air, wanting to attack the thing. The figure then starts walking to her with its hands outreached, its fingers waving in the air as if wanting her.
Who are you?
Melissa says as she struggles to hold Charlie back. As soon as Melissa heard those words, she felt a chill shoot throughout her body, a fear that made her life feel threatened. She pulled at the dog collar, then headed back to the house. As she struggled with Charlie, she spotted lights on in the house on the left of her. In the windows of the house, dark silhouettes stood facing her, with their hands on the glass. The faces made awful screaming expressions as they called out to her. Melissa got into the house with Charlie, then locked the doors. Charlie scratched at the front door and barked. Melissa ran upstairs to look out one of the hall windows that gives a view of the front yard. Lydia sat on the floor in the living room. She stood up holding her Raggedy Ann doll. She then walked over to Charlie. Melissa made it to the window on the second floor. Melissa opened the curtains. Then she is horrified at what is in her view. A face pressed up into the window, with its hands on the glass. The creature's gold coin-shaped eyes glistened. Melissa screamed, falling on her bottom. Her feet went up. She turned and crawled away, crying and hollering. The ghostly figure pounded on the glass. Lydia stood by Charlie, watching the dog pant, growl, and bark. She jumped after hearing her sister from upstairs. Charlie started barking more. Then there came a knock. Then a couple of more knocks at the front door. Charlie stopped barking, then bit Lydia's gown, pulling on it. Lydia told Charlie to stop, but the dog didn't. It tugged on her gown, trying to move her away from the front door to the upstairs. The dog whined as it pulled Lydia away. Melissa hurried downstairs, passing her sister and Charlie.
Charlie, let go of me.
Melissa stops 3 feet from the front door. She hears the knocks and is too afraid to look through the peek hole or out one of the windows beside the door. She just stands there looking at the door.
What's happening, Melissa?
Lydia says, holding her doll to her chest. Charlie growls as he jerks his head, yanking Lydia to the staircase. Lydia hits Charlie in the head with her doll, then screams at him.
Get off!
Charlie lets go, then runs upstairs whimpering, leaving Lydia behind. Melissa goes to the door, then puts one hand on the doorknob. She then put her eye to the peek hole. Her hand falls off the doorknob. Tears stream from her brown eyes. Her mouth quivers. She can't believe what she is looking at. Outside her door is a shadow figure, standing on the porch, its face nearly unveiled from the darkness, leaving a distorted, decaying corpse with white eyes looking straight at her.
Let us in. Let us in.
The whispers called out to her. Melissa backed away from the front door, then picked up her little sister who was staring at her. She kissed Lydia on the forehead, then told her everything is going to be fine.
Don't worry. Everything's
Melissa
going
then
to be
headed
fine.
to the living room. Melissa placed Lydia on the couch, then sat beside her.
Please,
She took out her phone, then called 911.
stop.
She looked at her screen, waiting for the call to go through. The message she got back read no signal. Her phone then went black. Melissa tapped on her screen. She then looked at her sister, who was becoming scared.
Don't worry. It's fine. We'll be fine. Come on, Mommy and Daddy. I'm scared. I'm getting help. Just please, don't worry.
Melissa restarted her phone, then waited for it to come back on. The screen lit up. Then as soon as it did, she got a call. In a hurry, she answered it.
Hello?
Hello, Melissa. Could you please open the door? Let us in.
Melissa immediately hung up. She threw her cell phone across the room in a panic, then ran over to the landline phone in the kitchen. Just as she placed her hand on the phone, it rang. Melissa looked over, spotting her sister staring at her with her eyes peeking over the couch cushion. She then looked back at the phone on the wall. She let out a breath, then she pressed speaker.
Melissa, let us in.
Melissa hung up the call, then ran into the living room, then picked up her sister. She hurried upstairs, then into her bedroom. She placed Lydia down and kept telling her not to worry. Charlie ran from out the parents' bedroom over to Melissa's room. Charlie hid under Melissa's bed. His snout stuck out from the bed sheets that hung down to the floor. Lydia kneels down. She then crawls under the bed to hide with Charlie. The lights in the house go out. Melissa stumbles back, hitting her elbow on her dresser. Lydia screams, and Charlie barks. A flash of lightning creates a flicker of patterns in the room. Melissa reaches out, feeling for her bed. She then moves from her bed to the closet. As her eyes adjust to the dark, she spots the closet door handle. She grabs it, then opens it. Charlie growls as he faces the bedroom door. Lydia looks at the door too as she pats her dog. The phone rings downstairs. Melissa finds flashlights in a small wooden chest in her closet. She turns them on, then hurries out the closet hearing the phone ringing. Melissa then ducks down, pulling the sheet up, seeing her sister and Charlie hiding under the bed. Charlie licks her face as she hands the other flashlight to Lydia.
Okay, Charlie, that's enough. Where are you going, Melissa? I gotta check the phone. I gotta see if it's mom or dad. I'll be fine. Charlie, stay here. Watch my sister. Stay.
Charlie barks, then whimpers. Lydia starts to cry as her sister leaves the bedroom. Melissa hurries downstairs, then over to the phone. She answers it, hoping she would hear a familiar voice.
Hello?
Hey, I got your text. I was out with my dad, helping him out with the farm. I left my phone inside, so...
Trevor, you have to listen to me.
Trevor was cut short.
Trevor, there's something strange going on at my house. I need...
The line goes dead. Melissa stands in the kitchen with her mouth open, not sure what to do. Lydia crawls out from under the bed. She shines her light on the walls. She then shines it on Charlie. Charlie whines, moving further under the bed. Lydia picks up her Raggedy Ann doll, then walks out the bedroom. She then turns to her right, then screams. Melissa had walked up to her with a jug of water and 3 bags of chips.
Jesus Christ, you scared the hell out of me, Lydia. God, you scared me too. Let's go back to my room until someone comes, like mom or dad or someone. Here, take the Doritos.
2 hours passed, and the sisters sat behind the bed with their backs to the wall. Lydia's eyes were closing as she was falling asleep. Melissa ate some chips while watching her sister. Charlie lays by the bedroom door asleep. Melissa can hear the rain outside. She rolls her eyes thinking, wow, just what her night needs. Charlie's ears moved, and he woke up. The dog barked at the window across the room facing the bed. Lydia woke, then started pouting. Melissa stood, then grabbed her old baseball bat from which she played softball. She held it up, ready to swing. A hooded figure crouched at her window with one hand on the glass. Behind the figure is another.
Leave the room. Take Charlie with you. Go, hurry.
Charlie then ran to the window, then barked and wagged his tail. He whined and looked at Melissa, then stared back at the window. Melissa knew that look. Charlie knows who the mysterious person is. Melissa smiled, then went to the window. She opened it. Then the boy hopped in along with his friend. Trevor took his hoodie off and grinned at Melissa.
Sorry, Mel. I knocked and called, and this was my last resort.
Trevor says, kneeling to pet Charlie. Charlie was happy. He leaned his head into Trevor's chest and rubbed his snout up, trying to lick his face.
Hey, cool room,
Trevor's friend Bradley says. Melissa closed the window, then told them to follow her to the guest bathroom so she can get them towels to dry off with. Lydia peeked from her bedroom, seeing the boys following her sister. Melissa told the boys what she saw and what happened. Bradley smiled and told her maybe someone is messing with her.
I know what I saw. There's something out there that is trying to get in.
You stay way out here and you have no neighbors close by? You're in the middle of nowhere. Someone's probably just trying to scare you. I would. Bradley says, drying his hair. He looks at Trevor with a smirk. Melissa leans on the wall with her arms crossed.
Look, we'll have a look around. Sounds like the rain stopped. Me and Bradley will just go out and check out the area.
That's what we're going to do.
Trevor, can we just go to your house and put Charlie in your backyard? Me and my sister, we can sleep on your couch.
Okay, yeah. Let me call my house and see.
Trevor walks out the restroom, leaving Bradley and Melissa. Bradley shines his flashlight on his own face. He looks at Melissa with a grin. You know, there's this old ghost story about these things called grippers. They live in the dark outside in the woods. They're like demons, but worse. They take people, and no one ever hears from them again.
Stop screwing with me, Brad.
I'm not. These things have white, round eyes, and the ones with gold-colored, coin-shaped eyes, you must avoid. They will possess you and make you do unspeakable things. The grippers cannot come into a house unless let in. But you're safe. And the light, it draws them in. But they can't stay in the light too long. Bradley smiles at Melissa with his brows raised.
Grippers? You talk like it's a joke.
Because it is. I heard about it from a friend of my brother's. He said he was told it by his grandpa. I don't believe it, but it makes for a good campfire story, right?
You know, I think I saw one. Round gold coin-shaped eyes. I swear, it was in this hallway, in that window down there. I'm not
You're
even
not scaring me,
trying to.
Melissa.
Just
I don't
not
believe in
listening.
ghosts or monsters.
I'm just saying what I saw.
Come
That's
on. Melissa, quit with the I'm so scared act.
I'm not putting
Leave us
on an
alone
act.
so we can
I
go
know what I
back to our
saw.
ghost recon game.
You're just
There's
tripping.
nothing out here.
God,
It's just
where's
you
Trevor?
and your sister.
God.
You're just
Whatever.
being delusional. You just
Whatever.
want Trevor to hang out with you tonight. That's all this is.
You know what? Shut up, Brad. Move.
Melissa shoves Bradley out of her way, then walks over to Trevor. Trevor stands with his back to her. He keeps tapping his phone.
It's not working. I called my house, but I lost the signal. I turned it off and even restarted it. It's dead.
Melissa's heart starts to race. She then calls out to her sister. Bradley walks out the restroom, shining his light on Trevor. Hey, you believe her?
She's my girlfriend. I had to, even when I don't understand. But we're going outside to check out the place.
Fine, dude. Let's go, so we can go.
Hey, if Melissa doesn't feel safe after we look, I'm taking her to my house.
No, dude. We got plans. We got people waiting for us to log on. Don't you want to kill that idiot Ryan?
Yes, but she comes before video games. Let's go out and get this over with.
Cool. Whatever you say. Whatever. Bradley looks over, seeing Melissa searching Lydia's room. He then sighs, shaking his head in disappointment. The two boys walk downstairs. Melissa hears wind, then notices Lydia's bedroom window open. She then goes over to it in a hurry, with hope that her sister didn't go out. She looks out the window, lifting it up. On the roof, the part that curves down, she spots Lydia sitting with her back to her. She's humming to herself. Melissa climbs out, whispering to Lydia to come to her.
Lydia, please come here. It's not safe out there. We're going to leave in a little bit. Hurry up.
Lydia just sits humming with her back to her sister. Melissa crawls closer, her hands touching the wet shingles, her knees dragging as she moves slowly over.
Lydia, please, you have to come inside. Melissa, that's not me.
Melissa stops moving as she heard her little sister's voice coming from inside the house. Melissa looked back, seeing Lydia's face looking out the window. Lydia holds her doll with tears in her eyes. Melissa turns around to find the little girl she thought was her sister has turned to face her. The face of the girl is twisted and burnt black. The eyes are gold. The teeth are discolored and jagged. Melissa screams, then backs away. The small creature stands up, then rushes her. The little monster grabs her hair, then pulls on it. Melissa struggles as she keeps backing to the window. Lydia screams. Melissa shoves the creature off, then falls back into the house. The little monster girl stops at the window. She snags at Melissa, clicking her teeth. She then hums and kneels facing Melissa. Melissa stands up, then slams the window shut and closes the blinds. Trevor and Bradley rush into the bedroom.
Are you okay?
Trevor says, going over to Melissa.
Yes, it was one of them. It pretended to be my sister. It fooled me. I think Bradley's story is true.
What story?
Come on.
What are you talking about?
Dude, she thinks the Gripper story is real. I told her about it when you was calling her folks.
Are you trying to freak her out even more? Man, what is wrong with you?
Sorry, I wasn't thinking. Man.
Whatever he told me, it is true. Those things, they're trying to get in. The one in my sister's room, in the window, it stopped. It was like it couldn't get in.
Okay, are you two trying to get me? Because she's a good actor. I mean, look at her. She's trembling. Trevor gives Bradley a shove.
Let's go check outside and we'll settle this. Let's go.
Bradley laughed and shined his flashlight on his face. We'll be right back. Let's get out of here. Melissa grabs Trevor by the hand, then kisses him.
Please be safe.
I'm good. I won't get hurt. I just want to make sure you're safe. I'll be back. I promise.
Trevor kisses Melissa and hugs her.
Okay, stay put. Me and Bradley will be back. See you soon.
Trevor says to Melissa before heading to the front door. Bradley rubs the top of Lydia's head, telling her to not be scared. The dog ran downstairs, then out the door when Trevor opened it. Trevor looked at Melissa, sighing to her that he will get Charlie. Bradley closed the door behind him, waving bye to the girls. The boys, along with Charlie, walked to the right side of the house, shining their flashlights all around.
This isn't necessary. We could be, at home right now, out of all this bad weather. We're out here doing nothing. There's nothing out here. Melissa is just paranoid, man.
She's my girlfriend. I want to make her safe, so drop it.
Dude, whatever scared her is gone. They probably saw us coming and took off.
Brad, you are the one who brought up the creepy story about the grippers. So hush, man. Let's just have a look around and I'll see what to do next.
I already know you. You're going to take her home and our game night is ruined. This is bullshit.
Hush, man.
The boys walked to the edge of the street, then walked to the left side of the house, passing the large oak tree. Charlie stopped just as the boys crossed the yard to the house over. Charlie growled, then barked. Bradley looked at Charlie, then shushed him.
Mutt. Be quiet, Mutt. There's nothing out there but dog turds and wet grass. Oh, gosh.
Come on. I think I saw something.
Trevor says as he follows a shadow figure with his light onto the porch of the other house. He couldn't keep up with it. About the time it reached the porch, it vanished. Charlie kneels down with his lip curled up, showing his canines. Bradley walked up the concrete steps to the house, then looked around. Trevor walked along the side of the house, shining his light onto Melissa's property. Behind him, in one of the windows, a pair of glowing gold-colored eyes shines for a brief moment, then disappears. Bradley lets out a breath, then turns to see someone standing out in the street facing him. Bradley climbs over the white wood railing on the porch, then leaps off into the dirt. He walks to the stranger with his flashlight down.
Hey, who are you?
Trevor turns around, hearing his friend calling out. Bradley walks closer, still not able to see the person fully. Charlie barks, then rushes over to Bradley. Bradley moves the shine of his light onto the person for visual. As the light reaches the entity, the creature hollers. Bradley can't believe his eyes. A partially shadowed thing with light green skin is in his view. The face is deformed and broken. Its mouth is slanted to one side, outstretched with a drool. One of its legs is twisted the other way. It's naked, with its rib cage nearly poking out of its skin. It starts walking towards Bradley. Charlie barks at it, causing it to look away from Bradley. Bradley runs back to Melissa's house, yelling in horror. Charlie follows Bradley back to the house. Bradley sees Trevor coming from around the side of the house running. Bradley then noticed dozens of shadow people racing at Trevor.
Trevor! Behind you!
Bradley shouts. Trevor stops, then is tackled by the creatures. They start dragging him from off the property to the woods by the house. Melissa runs outside and sees her boyfriend being dragged away.
Bradley picks up a large stick, then runs after them. Hold on, Trevor! I'm coming!
He gains on them just as they reach the tree line. He swings, smacking one of them across the back of the head. Maggots and worms fling out of its busted skull. They drop Trevor, then jump on Bradley. Bradley kicks and punches at them. Trevor gets up in a daze. He's bleeding from scratches and bite marks. He falls on his stomach, then reaches out to his friend. Bradley is being scratched and bitten. His jacket is ripped off, then his shirt is pulled off. Bradley cries, then turns to run after knocking a bunch of them off. He tackles one, then punches it in the face. The creature bites his arm, then pulls him down. It bites his neck and digs its nails into his back. Bradley yells in pain. Trevor gets up and kicks the creature in the head, breaking its neck. The grippers don't move fast. They all move slowly, reaching for the boys. Charlie stands on the porch by Melissa's side, barking at the monsters. Trevor holds Bradley up as they both hurry back to the house. Trevor passes the oak tree, then yells as a tall creature steps out from around it. It's all black with gold round eyes that never blink. It reaches out to take them. Trevor pushes Bradley away from him, then jumps to the side. Both boys rush to the house, yelling. Just as they both made it to the porch, Melissa ran into the house, shouting at them to get inside. Trevor ran to the door, and Bradley stopped, seeing the tall creature reaching for Trevor. Bradley put his flashlight on it. Then it stopped, nearly touching Trevor as he leaped into the house. The tall creature faced Bradley with his dark flesh burning in the light of the flashlight. Bradley then walked to the front door, feeling safe behind his light. The creature then smiled, revealing sharp, jagged, thin teeth. Bradley felt a tumble of pure fear rip through his entire. He ran to the front door. Lydia watched Bradley run for his life. The creature grabbed him up, then slammed him into the floor of the porch. The other creatures all walked up the steps as Bradley cried out to Melissa and Trevor.
Trevor! Melissa, help me! I can't feel my legs! Help me! I can't move! I don't want to die! I don't want to die! Help! Help!
Trevor stood up, trembling with tears in his eyes, as hundreds of grippers approached the front door, walking straight at them. Some with black sockets and others with gold circled eyes. Melissa slammed the door shut and locked it. She saw that there was no hope for Bradley. There were too many coming from all directions. Then they all heard the most awful sound. Bradley being ripped apart.
Please! No, 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 no!
Melissa falls to the floor and sobs, her back to the door. Trevor sits holding his arm. He is shaking badly. The lights in the house come back on. Melissa looks around, wiping her eyes. Lydia and Charlie stand in the living room facing the front door.
I'm scared, Melissa. Please make them go away.
Lydia cries. Melissa stands up, then rubs her face, trying to wipe away the tears. She then goes over and picks up her cell phone lying on the floor behind the TV stand. She sees the phone is still dead. She presses the turn on button and gets nothing. She then ducks down, quickly dropping to the floor. As she was turning, she noticed a group of faces looking at her from the kitchen window. Trevor looks at Melissa, wondering why she ducked.
They're watching us. They're in the kitchen window.
Let's get up to your room. Get your sister.
Trevor says to Melissa. Charlie starts barking at the window in the kitchen. He runs over, then barks, running side to side. Melissa tells Lydia to follow her. Melissa then runs to the staircase. Lydia follows, shouting at Charlie to come. Trevor tells Lydia to go with her sister and that he will get Charlie. Trevor runs into the kitchen, then stops in his tracks. He can see two pair of gold eyes staring at him. He tries to break his focus, but he can't. Charlie bites Trevor's jeans and starts yanking them. The voices drown out all other sounds around Trevor. He became overwhelmed with guilt. He felt he had to open the window. He slowly walked over to the kitchen window. The faces pressed into the glass. Hands pressed into the glass from outside. The voices became louder and louder. Charlie then ran away. Trevor could not break his attention from them. He unlocked the window, then placed his fingers on the thin rim bottom.
Let us in. Let us in.
Trevor opened the window, pulling it all the way up. Dozens of hands reached in, grabbing him. Trevor's body was lifted up, then his torso went out the window. He yelled in horror as they bit him and scratched him. One of the creatures grabbed his left arm, then bent it the opposite way, breaking it. Trevor yelled and kicked his legs. He began forcing himself back inside. The creatures dug their claws into his face and into his back. Trevor reached his hand around, feeling for anything to fend them off. His right hand found a steak knife sitting in the dish rack. He grabbed the handle, then started stabbing into the dozens of hands and faces coming at him. He jabbed the blade into eye sockets and faces. He stabbed arms and necks. Black ooze squirted out. The creatures let go, then Trevor shut the window, dropping the knife in the sink. He fell to the floor yelling in pain. Blood poured from his wounds, creating a puddle on the floor. Trevor jerked around, kicking his feet, hitting the kitchen cabinets. Trevor looked over to the door leading to the backyard. A silhouette of one of the creatures stands there facing him. It knocks on the door.
Let us in.
Trevor crawls on the floor trying to stand up. His blood is all over the floor. He scoots across the blood-soaked floor out of the kitchen. Melissa takes the box spring mattress off her bed, then pulls it over in front of the window. She places the other mattress close to one corner of her wall, away from the bedroom door and window. Lydia holds Charlie by his neck and hugs him as she watches Melissa move quickly around the room. Trevor crawls up the steps. He stops for a moment. The pain is almost unbearable. He holds his broken arm and grits his teeth, trying to fight through the pain.
Melissa, where's Trevor?
Lydia asked her sister. Melissa stops in her tracks, holding two pillows. She then tosses them to the side.
Wait here. I'll be right back.
Melissa says to her sister. Melissa runs out the room. She turns, shutting the door. She then ran down the hallway to the staircase. She hurries down, seeing Trevor on the bottom. Lydia picked up her doll, then sat on the mattress in the corner of the room. Charlie barked and growled. Melissa helped Trevor up. Trevor told her he was sorry for not believing her.
Don't worry about it. We have to get upstairs.
We can barricade ourselves in your room until morning, then escape. There's too many outside.
The whispers called out to Melissa. Melissa turned to face Trevor. She then let him go and moved downstairs. Trevor grabbed her ankle, nearly making her fall. She pulled her foot away, yanking her leg up.
Melissa, don't open the door.
Melissa's eyes rolled back in her head as she walked down the steps holding the rail. Trevor held his arm. He called out to Melissa again, telling her to stop.
Melissa, don't answer the door!
Melissa reached the bottom steps. She then turned to face the hall that leads to the front door of the house.
Melissa.
She walked slowly. Her mouth hung open, and she moaned as she moved over to the door. The doorknob rattled, and the voices became many. Trevor looked up at the top floor, seeing Lydia and Charlie. Charlie ran down the steps, barking. Lydia cried, falling on the floor. She could see that Trevor is hurt badly. Melissa grabbed the doorknob, then unlocked the door. Melissa's eyes lowered, with tears running down her cheeks. She then realized what she was doing. She pulled the door open and screamed. She couldn't stop herself. It was too late. The door was now wide open. A cold air blew into the house, and Charlie ran out the door, snagging at the hand that reached out for Melissa. Melissa fell on her bottom, then crawled backwards. She couldn't see out the front door because a cloud of fog covered it. She could hear Charlie fighting something. Then she heard him make a cry out of pain. A loud snap sound came. The dog's body was thrown back into the house, broken in half. Melissa screamed, then got up, then ran upstairs. She looked back, seeing Charlie's broken body. The upper part moved. His mouth was open, and he was whining and gargling out blood. Melissa felt so bad, she wanted to go down to be with him. But that's when she saw them emerge from the fog. Melissa then left. Trevor sat in the center of the staircase holding his arm. He looked sick as he sat there. Melissa helped him up, and they both hurried over to her bedroom. Lydia stood in the doorway. As soon as Trevor and Melissa made it in, Lydia shut the door, then locked it.
Where's Charlie?
Lydia cries. Trevor lay on his back, staring up at the ceiling, holding his arm.
Where's my dog? I'm sorry, Lydia. Charlie is gone.
Lydia drops to her knees in tears, holding her Raggedy Ann doll. Trevor lifts himself up. He stares at the door. Melissa leans on her makeup table. She stares at the door also. Lydia hides under a bed sheet, then curls up in the corner of the mattress. The lights come on, then flicker. Then the bulbs explode. Melissa looks at Trevor.
Trevor, what have you heard about these things?
I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't pay much attention to Bradley when he told stories.
You have to know something. How do we get out of here?
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Trevor's eyes widened. Then he looked at Melissa with a quick move of his head. His lips trembled as he questioned her.
Did you open a door for them?
Melissa, too afraid to answer, walked over to Trevor, then knelt down on one knee.
I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't control myself, Trevor.
Please tell me you didn't.
I did. I'm sorry. I did.
Trevor used his right hand to lift up on the side of the dresser to stand.
Help me move this dresser to this door.
Okay.
The walls began to shake with the sound of pounding. Melissa shut off her flashlight and sat with her sister on the mattress. Trevor picked up Melissa's bag, then sat on the mattress listening to the loud hits on the walls. The door sounded like it was about to break as the creatures hit it. The whispers came to them, and Melissa told her sister not to pay the voices any attention as they both hid under the sheets. The girls looked at one another.
Hold on to me. I'll take care of you,
Melissa says to her sister. Lydia cries in her sister's arms. Trevor sat quietly with a mean look in his eyes. His broken arm lay on his thigh as he sat on the edge of the mattress. Melissa hugged her little sister and prayed. The walls began to crack, and the window moved open behind the box spring mattress. Hands reached in, grabbing the sides of the walls. Fingernails dragged, scraping deep grooves. Something then comes to mind as Trevor sits. Something that his friend told him. He stands up quickly. The walls around them crack. Hands reach in from all corners of the room. Trevor shouts as he tightens his grip on the bat. Police lights flicker. 7 police cars sit parked in front of the Moreau home. Officer Horn leads a team up the steps of the house with their guns drawn. The officers had responded to a call from a mailman who had found a body on the property when he was dropping off mail. The men moved past the twisted, dismembered corpse of Bradley. The door is wide open. On the outside of the door frame are hundreds of scratches. The officers spread out when they enter the home. Officer Horn looks around, seeing holes in the walls and broken furniture. The floorboards are pulled up, with dirt scattered all over the place. Every single window in the house is busted. Officer Horn reaches the second floor. He stops in his tracks facing the bedroom of Melissa Moreau. Tears start to form in his eyes as he stands looking at the broken door. Officer Horn, shall we move on? A young officer asks, standing behind him. Officer Horn is the uncle of Melissa and Lydia Moreau. He gets a bad feeling as he stares at the caved-in door in front of him.
Yes. You guys check out the master bedroom. I got this one.
The officers move past Horn to the other room. Officer Horn walks to the bedroom, lowering his gun. He can feel the death. He can only hear the sounds of the police moving throughout the home, and the sound of nature coming from the window inside the bedroom. Officer Horn peeked into the room. The reflection of discolored, broken bodies reflects off his green eyes. He then stepped away, holstering his weapon. His hands tremble and he begins to tear up. He rubs his eyes dry, then stands back, leaning into the hall wall. Officer Horn then tells the medics who step into the home that there's 3 more in the room behind him. He then walks down the stairs, trying to keep his composure. He tries not to react as he walks out the house. A couple of officers look at him, seeing the expression that he cannot hide.
Must have been a bear. You mean bears.
Officer Horn overheard 2 young medics walking past him, returning to the ambulance for supplies. The officer opened his door to his vehicle, then entered. He then lost it. He cried his heart out. 2 months later, a young married couple sits on the couch in the living room. The wife stands up, then walks into the kitchen to take the popcorn from off the stove.
Hey babe, hurry back. The movie's about to start.
The woman giggles and pours the popcorn into a large red bowl. From behind her, an apparition of Lydia. The little girl who once lived in the house is seen, standing, holding her Raggedy Ann doll. The little girl runs off just as the woman turns around. The woman holds the popcorn, swearing to herself. She saw something from the corner of her eye. Upstairs in their daughter's bedroom, the little girl is asleep. A shadow emerges from the dark, giving its shape of a small girl hunched over, looking in at the sleeping girl from the window. A small, discolored hand reaches in to open the window. Inside the clean, neat room sits a small dresser with a mirror and a chair. On the tabletop is a gold coin sitting by a music box and a unicorn bronze statue. The knocking at the front door breaks the wife's concentration, as she was sure she saw a young girl who wasn't her daughter. She shakes her head, then leaves the kitchen. Her husband stands up, scratching his chin.
Hun, were you expecting anyone this late?
No, I don't know who that is.
The wife and husband walk to the front door together. They both look at each other for the last time, just as the husband touches the doorknob. They both start to hear whispers coming from outside the house.
Let us in. Let us in. Let us in.